Live with Neve.
All right. Here we are. You're live with Neve. It is Saturday at 4 o'clock. We're just hanging out here. It is a beautiful day in New York. It is cool. It's around 20 degrees, I believe, right now, and it's beautiful. The sun is shining, and we're here. I've got a great musical guest with us today, and I've got my usual co-star here. Let me find, where's she at? She's lurking in Nashville somewhere. Here she is.
Shadows.
What's happening in the shadows of Nashville, babe?
Well, we are waiting to see how our Titans fare today. Titans are in the playoffs, and we're about to play the Bengals. So
there will be much revelry and carousing down on Main Street. And
there shall.
Yeah.
There shall be. Broadway is a hot mess right now, and I'm hiding indoors. So how goes it with you?
Oh, it's excellent. It's aside from the cold, but I've got a fire brewing. I've got good music. My neighbors aren't home, so I can make all kinds of racket and play my drums or do whatever I want to do. So that's a blessing on a Sunday. And then, of course, we're going to be talking drums. So that's always cool in my world to sit down and talk shop with anybody. And here you are. I mean, hell, it's just like a great Saturday hanging. Unfortunately, we've got 5,000 or 3,000 miles to him, about 16 to you. But through this wondrous technology, we can go on and make jokes about music and people and things that go bump in the night. And I see we've got a couple of people lurking here in the comments section I haven't seen. Toby Juan Kenobi, man. That is my girl.
Toby. Hey, Toby.
Yes, Toby baby. And we've got Jay Crocker, my legal and spiritual advisor from the Florida area. He's joining us wondering, why in hell are we doing this? I'm breaking Shabbos, man. I'm sorry. It just happens sometimes. I'm really a bad man. And we got Susan, and Susan says it is sunny but cold. We know that Bernie's out in L.A., and so is Toby. I know it's pretty cool out there. It's like, I guess, 50 for them today, which, that's pretty comfortable, especially for people from Minnesota.
It's pretty cold here.
I would, too. Well, normally, if we had a show in the morning, we'd be sitting here talking and trying to make all kinds of histrionics. Let's just go ahead and bring on Bernie, talk to him. I've got some video to play, and let's talk drums and fun in the industry. And, and then afterwards, we're getting told the mystery secret. It's where Hoffa's buried, I think, is what we're going to be talking about later. But enough of that now. Hoffa's dead, man. Wherever he is, he ain't been found yet. And I'll venture that all these people who come out of the woodwork 20, 30 years later, it's like, give me a break. It's like my old
conspiracy theorist, man.
Some guy in Florida said this or something 30 years ago. People drank a lot in those days, including myself. At any rate, remembering specific dates and the participants or the co-conspirators in any alleged event, I just don't. I don't know. It's hard to remember stuff that, a week ago. I just don't recall any of this stuff.
Yeah, I can barely remember breakfast. So
yeah,
let's bring Bernie on.
Yeah, let's get Bernie on. Let's see if we can squeeze him between us here.
There he is.
Hey, man. How are you?
I know where Hoffa is.
All right.
I do.
Lay it on us.
I can't believe that someone's finally asked me.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Hoffa? We need to know.
I am a drummer, as you know.
Yes.
And I play a brand of drums. It's kind of like a Stradivarius drum called Craviotto.
Yes, beautiful things.
So, see, there you go. See, there's the Hoffa
Molto
connection
bene.
already. Yeah. So Johnny years ago was had access to this wood that was the 600 years old wood that when they chopped down the trees in 1890, like around Lake Superior, they would float these logs down to the mill to, cut them and what. Some of them sank. So, or quite a few sank.
Oh.
They didn't all make it there. So they would go down the bottom of Lake Superior. They would just leave them there. So fast forward 100 years later to like 1990 or whatever, and they mined these logs and brought them up. And the old growth of trees that were like from the 1400s, the pattern of all those lines, how are really close together. And it's a special wood that it's that old. Plus, it was under the water for 100 years.
100 years.
Now, Stradivarius, not many people know, would soak his wood before he'd make violins for 20 years. How's that like? Okay, I'm going to put that in. Okay, let's wait 20 years now.
That's optimism.
So, yeah, exactly. Or what else are you going to do? So they found this, they mined it up, and like Bill Gates would panel rooms in it or whatever. But Johnny, furniture makers would make furniture out of it. But Johnny made some snare drums out of it.
Yes.
And so I got like 6 of these drums. And and they're all snare drums, the ones I have, maple, different sizes, 2 4s, 2 5.5s, 2 6.5s, one for cartage, one for home. And before the last one, he goes, Bernie, this is the last of them. The government is shutting us down. This is a long story to get to Hoffa. The government is shutting us down. This is the last one. I go, oh man, good thing I got these, because they're really special. They're just something.
Are they stave drums or are they?
No, they're Johnny. Oh yeah, Johnny makes solid shell drums, which means not plies, no glue slathered in between 3 plies or 6 plies, 1 ply, and just joined and steam bent, about a 1/4 inch thick, and which is not that thick, and. So he goes, this is the last one. The government's shutting us down because they're saying it's government property, the Lake Superior. They own it, get off of it.
Right.
So that ended that. However, I just know they probably are going, they're getting close to Hoffa. Shut them down.
Shut them down. There you go.
All that great wood at the bottom of Lake Superior. That's where I think he is.
They just chained him to one of those logs,
Drumming, Hoffa. Drumming, Hoffa.
Hoffa.
All right.
Indeed. Well, now that we've got that sorted out, I think we're going to all file for the reward. I'll be seeing you at the next awards benefit out in LA somewhere. Come on, Sammy. We're going to LA.
I've heard a lot of Hoffa stories before and a lot of Hoffa theories, but that might be the most creative.
I think that's probably where he is. He's hanging
out with Judge Crater, who was the other guy who got lost back in the 50s that nobody ever saw. He was a similar figure. Everybody knew him. And then Judge Crater, he disappeared in the 50s. He was kind of like a 50s version.
I've never heard of that in my life.
I think he was up in Minnesota, and he just disappeared.
Minnesota,
Yay, yes. Oh, the Yoopers. Those fuckers go crazy, too. They're another wild bunch up there in the Upper Peninsula.
They thought he was in that New York Giants stadium, right? Buried in the end zone. But I think that's been debunked. I forget what the reason was. I read the article. I read it on the internet. It must be true.
Right. It must be true.
So he's not there. So
there were rumors back when I was growing up in New Jersey that he was buried not at the Meadowlands, but very close to it, adjacent at a hospital that was built there. Now, that's never been proven. Never heard it other than hearing speculation back in the early 70s. And, like I say, some of those memories are a little faded. A lot of beer drunk in those days. And
he's probably really just in Cuba. He's probably really not even dead.
Yeah, he might even be. He's hanging with Elvis.
So, Neve, this is way more interesting than I started as a young boy, 2 years old, hitting pots and pans at my grandma's, watching the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. Lessons by 4.5, etc. So that's a better beginning.
Well, the better beginning, sometimes the journey starts in weird places. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, talking about that thing that you occasionally do, you've done an amazing amount of film work, which I'm just blown away in television. I've heard you numbers of times, and now I can have the face with the name of some of these various Simpsons things. And what of all the stuff you've worked on, do you find? I know that you've Alex Acuna, I think you've done some work with. If I'm not mistaken,
you worked with him yesterday.
It's funny because I realized looking at through some of your old stuff, I remember when you guys were Yam. That's Leland's friend Yam has the Yammy. Anyway, excuse me. What was I going to say? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. At that convention, though, I remember going over and watching Alex do some demos, and I was just like, "Oh man, this is so great!" I grew up listening to all the Weather Report stuff as a kid, and he's just an amazing player. So I guess my question for you, out of all these movies and stuff, do you find it's pretty much the same posse that you usually have when you get called for dates? Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, just like in the old days, there was something in LA called the Wrecking Crew. And they didn't call, I don't think they called it that then. It became called that later.
Sure.
But there was a posse. Is that how you say posse? I
guess,
careful when I say that word.
Posse, yes.
You got to give a little more hood to it. You got to be posse. Got my posse.
Okay. So, but there's like a crew, but then the crew expands. Like maybe they can't be all at the same place at the same time. Or a certain writer goes, yeah, I like those Wrecking Crew guys, but let me get Bernie Dresel on drums instead this time, or whatever. So people will mix and match and kind of relay some people for different reasons. They like them or they know them or whatever. Or they just want to have a little more personal attachment to who they're hiring. Or maybe someone's a specialist. They're really good at brushes and they want brushes. So they call this brush specialist. However, in the studio, a lot of times the specialty thing they think they want, then all of a sudden it can shift on a dime because the director of the movie goes, no, I want sticks, or I want rock and roll metal, not this jazzy thing we talked about. So one of the things that I always grew up was about a variety of, like my dad was a milkman, he was a barber, he was a bartender. He did different things. So I was always brought up to do different things. So when I went to Eastman, I studied classical percussion. And then on the side, I go, I better learn hand percussion too and congas. I don't know if this drum set thing's going to work out when I get to the bigger pond in the world. And so I've always done different things, teaching, etc. And so studio work, live work. So when they call me or any of the studio players, that if you have that you can be the master of everything in a way, not just a master of some, then they feel safer hiring you too, that you can cover no matter what. Take
direction,
So I like, for instance, maybe a certain composer, like I work for Michael Giacchino, who's done like Up, Incredibles 2, Jurassic World, different movies. We just did the new Spider-Man that was out here in December. Batman will be coming, The Batman in March or something, and Lightyear in the summer. That's what we did yesterday, Lightyear, a movie that won't even be shown or known about until this coming summer, really. So
how long, if I can interrupt you, how long did it take that last, the one that you just did prior, Spider-Man, I believe it was. How long was that from conception to the time it got out, just for people out there who are curious?
Are you talking about the music? Because that's all I would know about. I don't know about the filming.
That's all I meant.
And of course, for the filming, COVID slowed everything down. But no, we could finish in a couple of days. Now, in the old days, they might have done a couple of weeks. Let's see. Let's try this. Okay, let's do this now. And now there's a lot more like, oh my gosh, the budgets. Are we going to, break even on this movie or whatever? So, and we're good and we're fast. And some composers are even faster than others about, okay, good, let's move on. Rather than, let's see, let's try something different there. So these movies I mentioned, Michael Giacchino, all those ones that I just mentioned, the composer's Michael Giacchino. So he has a favorite crew that in general he will hire. So we do see the same crew per se. And, like Emil Richards was part of our percussion section for him. and he just passed away a couple years ago. And he played on so many things. He like played the bongos on Mission Impossible on the TV show originally way back then. And he was on every Planet of the Apes movie ever. So his
that's awesome.
Spanned all of that, you know.
Hold that thought for a minute. We're going to just go to a break real quick, and we'll be right back. Here we are. We are live with Bernie Dresel. We're talking music and LA studios stuff.
Hi, this is Leland Sklar, and I am hanging with Neve, and I am having the best time of my life.
Like a melting flake of snow this year, I won't be sad to see it go.
Hi, I'm Darren F. Flynn, a singer-songwriter from Ireland, and I'm on Live with Neve.
I would have said it couldn't happen here, but the people
All right, we're back live with Neve.
Oh my gosh.
The Michigan, the legend, Bernie Dresel. He's here. So tell us, we were talking about how long it took. Go ahead.
I like those short commercial breaks. I was waiting like 5 minutes for like
bank
commercial.
Quick and painless.
We'd rather talk to you anyway than sit and
listen
to spots. I mean,
of course.
It's mainly just so we can keep track of the time. We do have a couple of spots that we run for people. I wasn't sure, originally when we did this, I was hemming and hawing, well, will we do it live or will we sit back, but, and do it, put it on another day. But it's a lot more fun because people will start asking questions and it kind of gets a little more amusing. So, Sam, I know you've got to have some questions.
I do.
Yeah, start up.
I do. So I guess one of my main questions for you is, if you have a favorite score that you've played on, been a comp on, what score is your favorite?
See, I'm not a favorite person. I don't have a favorite color, although like I have 3 albums out now. And so I guess my favorite is the newest one, The Pugilist, with my big band, the BBB, featuring Bernie Dresel. But for scores, I don't have favorites, but some like, what do I remember? That's a good question. What jumps out as remembering? And so sometimes I'm in the percussion section, like playing what's Star Wars movie? I can't think of which one it is, but one of the ones that John Williams didn't do the score. But I'm playing orchestral snare drum, so to hear those iconic themes, Star Wars themes, that's exciting. Planet of the Apes, playing on that, that's exciting. Very drummy and tribal in the percussion section. And a movie I went to as a kid, the first one with Charlton Heston. So that's cool. But drum set wise, I think of Incredibles 2 that I played on that featured the drums a lot. So it's fun to be featured, right? So that's cool. The new Spider-Man is so cool because I didn't just play a drum set. There's like bucket drums, trash cans, all these weird non-drum set things. For Zootopia, I did, Michael Giacchino said, okay, I want like an all metal drum set, not heavy metal, but all like no skins, no heads. So I put like cymbals on each head, a wash basin for a bass drum, clangy, a big 55-gallon drum, for the, all metallic sounds. So some of those things come to mind. Are they favorites? No, but they're iconic in my memory of different from the others. So I got to play on a little bit of West Side Story, meaning most of it was done in New York City because of the connection to Bernstein. Yeah, the brand new one. And but because of COVID, they couldn't quite finish it all there, and they had to do some of it in LA. So I got to play on the opening prologue, da 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 da, so just very iconic cool. Already before I played it. So fun to be a part of that. So I guess those things jump out. Now I do TV too, so none of the episodes jump out because they're all like one after another, and they're all cool. But working with Walter Murphy on Family Guy, or Alf Clausen on The Simpsons. So doing those shows is iconic to me and memorable. And you could say favorites because I remember them. Now, why do I remember them? Maybe they were fun or fun music, or I did a lot of them. So, like I used to do a lot of the Star Trek episodes, but not drum set, timpani, and suspended cymbal. Cool. You know, the sound of space is timpani, suspended cymbal, and 8 French horns. You know, so those things jump out. Yeah,
that's awesome.
You
know, I think that watching a percussionist create rhythm out of abstract pieces is cool. It just blows my mind to watch how you guys can take the sound of a sweeping broom and the clacking of a trash can lid and the thump of the can, and I just think that it's amazing. So kudos to you. That is stellar. I did look into some of your work.
And that's how it all starts. You're starting on pots and pans at grandma's.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very cool to put the face with the name. Like I said, I reviewed some of your work, so it's a pleasure to meet you. But I do have, I guess, sort of a childhood question. Then we can go back to at what age do you have your most like recollected memory of I want to play drums, I want to do this with my life?
Yeah, that's Ed Sullivan when I'm 2 years old and the Beatles. And literally, it's like four months after Kennedy's assassinated. And you're 2 years old, but TV, black and white TV is playing a big part in your life, you know. And
it's funny, that's one of my earliest memories. I'm about your age. We're very close in age. That's one of my earliest memories. Just I didn't know what was going on, but my mom was so upset, and it was obvious. Like it's the most vivid memory at an early age I have. And same with the Beatles. I remember seeing that after the fact on the rerun, and didn't quite understand it. But go ahead.
November '63 is Kennedy, and 4 months later is Ed Sullivan Beatles. But I'm looking. My parents are sad, and I don't understand why. And they're pointing to somehow telling me he's died, or was killed, or whatever. And I didn't understand because they're showing a clip of JFK giving a speech. So I'm looking at the TV, going, he doesn't look dead to me, but it was a clip. And then that excitement of the Beatles sounding great, looking like they're having fun. All these people, mostly girls, but at 2 years old, you're not thinking girls. You're thinking people love this and they're having fun and
it's excitement.
They'll look good. And, moving to the music and, maybe I'm playing on the trash cans or whatever in the backyard. And my parents go, he's a genius. Look at him beat things like cavemen did. And suddenly I'm taking lessons by 4.5. Yeah. So that's my earliest memory to go, I want to do that. Of course, seeing Buddy Rich play every year starting at 8.5 at the Idora Park Ballroom every summer, that's a big thing too. And getting that first record I had of his live at the Whiskey A Go-Go. It had rock. It was more rock with the big band. And that was my first introduction to him and going, wow, drums. Yeah.
I just have to mention your new record, the opening cut. Just comes out, The Pugilist, for everybody who hasn't heard it.
There it
is. It just knocked me out. There it is. He's ready to go. He's down. Love
that album cover.
Everybody, I tell people to buy all the stuff. This record will be everywhere in my life, at least for the next month, because I love it so much. I heard the first cut, played it twice, and went, oh. And talking about Buddy Rich is what brought this to my attention. That reminded me of so much of the spirit of Buddy's big band in that time period. Where, I mean, those big bands of the 60s and 70s, there's really nothing. There's a few. I mean, Brian Setzer does it. We'll get to talking about that, but I think a lot of younger people haven't had the exposure to what a real orchestra sounds like in today's world. They've heard a band or a DJ, but it's a whole different experience. And did you go to a first concert that was a classical concert that you remember? Was there anything that stuck out at you in those days?
Seemed records were it for me. I had a record player playing those Beatle records, or playing "These Boots Are Made for Walking" by Nancy Sinatra.
Nancy Sinatra.
You know,
Yeah,
right.
that's my
Right.
jam right there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then years later, I get to play with her.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. That is.
Yeah. Yeah. So
One of
records
these.
were it for me. So not so much seeing the music at first, but but I mean, my parents, we went to Atlantic City. That was our thing. They used to go to Wildwood, New Jersey. Then it became Atlantic City by the time I was born. And we went, I'm at a concert. It must be 1965. I must be 3 then, of Herman's Hermits. So
no kidding.
all I remember is I couldn't see anything. I'm short. I started off as a very short boy. I don't know if you know that, but much shorter than adults. And so my dad lifted me up on his shoulders to see, there's the band. There's Peter Noonan and Herman's Hermits. And that's all I kind of remember, just a glimpse of that. Not really the music, just the energy of that.
The excitement,
wow,
right.
I can't see. What was my real first rock concert? It might have been Kansas, which is
that was one of my first concerts with Robbie Steinhardt.
Yeah, and the light show with the classical approach to the violin coming in with rock and great vocals, and that was exciting. Going to a concert that had Nirvana, Michael Walden, Shaka Khan, the Brother Johnson, and who else? Somebody big. Who was it? I'm missing, but seeing that, just funk and soul music, and right at the front of the stage, that made a big impact.
P-Funk in '76 here in New Jersey. All of us white kids were going. It was like the rap of our day. We're all out here grooving, Bust the Sucker Down and all these other great tunes. It was just really weird though to see all these suburban kids grooving. Our parents in suburbia were like, "What is that?" It's like we're all singing, "We want the funk." Then it has some funk. They were like, "What are they saying down there?"
Yeah.
I had a
Mothership Connection. I remember.
Mothership Connection.
I had a band where it was kind of like a predominantly white school, kind of, and then a predominantly black school neighboring right near each other. So rivals in basketball and everything, but friendly in music. And so I had a band between some kids from both schools, and so we would learn all this Parliament stuff because we had to play that,
Absolutely.
And it was great.
Stevie Wonder. There was so much good music. I was a young guy too, learning. That was what we were playing. A lot of rock and roll, but I loved all that Motown and stuff. Just my parents.
I love Motown too.
Still, you turn it on and it's just just takes you to a place and a time.
Now it's interesting because I'm still learning about music. Like I didn't jump on the Led Zeppelin bandwagon when they were doing it, really. I wasn't really getting it or being hurt until we started to play in that band. I was talking Starbreaker, we were called, where we would do some Zeppelin. So I would get into a little bit. But, years later now, I would say I'm getting into Frank Zappa more, even though that's a very musician-friendly, thing to explore and listen to. I don't really know the whole catalog like I know Beatles or Earth, Wind and Fire, etc. So on this
we won't fault you for that. I think he has 176 albums. You're so lazy, man. Can't imagine you haven't sat down and learned every Frank Zappa part note for note. Really.
I better start listening more. But we did one Frank Zappa tune on the Pugilist, and
it's
but
ridiculous.
it almost doesn't fit. My idea was like on Revolver, Beatles, Tomorrow Never Knows, like to hit that. What is that at the end of the album? So that's where we put that there. We haven't had vocals on the previous 2 albums.
That was the first cut I played. I put it up and I went, there he is, live, the BBB featuring Bernie Dresel.
So this is the 3rd album. We finally have vocals on it. But I'm not bringing up the lovely blah, blah, blah. Well, now come up and sing with us. Or it's 2 of the trumpet players sing on this new album. And one of them, Zombie Wolf. And a COVID-friendly tune called Positive for the Blues. And it's the lyric is, I tested positive for the blues.
Nice.
Okay, so, but the vocalists are within the trumpet section. So I like that more, that they don't just sit in a chair for 8 songs of a set and then come up and sing 2. And then once you start vocals, people love vocals. They love vocals. They love drums. They do.
Absolutely.
Tribal and the voice. Everyone has it. Those instruments.
Gets the rhythm going.
Yeah.
Even white guys like me.
Yeah.
I can dance. It's amazing. Let me ask you, do you dance with your wife?
Well,
are you any good is what I'm asking.
Well, I was a tap dancer when I was 9 and 10.
And he is good, obviously.
Okay. Yeah.
And
all right.
And actually, on the last 2 albums, including The Pugilist, I tap dance on the album.
Very cool.
I can't wait. I'm going to have to listen to that.
That's on You'd Be So Nice to Come Home to Him. I tap dance on this one.
Man, what a renaissance, man. I'm telling you.
You can't see it.
Oh, and a gentleman.
God, you were well-rounded. You little boxing, little
That's right.
kind of.
I did ventriloquism as a kid.
Wow. Can you do a little bit of that for us now? Can you do a little ventriloquism?
Yes, I can. I just did.
Nice.
Can you swear at me in Russian?
No.
No.
Can you pat your head and rub your tummy, Bernie?
Circle and pat.
You can see the tummy though.
I believe you. Are we going to get to hear some of Bernie's music? Do we have?
Oh, we are. Music? Actually, we're going to take a break and be right. It'll be a very short break, and then we're going to come back and listen to some Bernie.
I want to hear some.
Hey there, it's Kevin Sorbo here, and you lucky people, you are live. You're live with Neve.
All right, here we are. It's 1:30. We're back with the amazing, talented Bernie Dresel. Actually, he's all about, this guy is talented. Ventriloquist, Jedi Knight, mind melder. What other skills have you got? Can you bend spoons with your mind?
Magician.
That's what I was about to say. Magician?
Yeah.
I like that. Can you escape from are you like Houdini? Can we bound you in locks and can you get on,
No, but I did read a lot about Houdini. I know kind of how to do it, but I've not done it.
Well, how about have you gone and seen Penn and Teller? I think might be the guy for them.
I've seen Penn and Teller, and I think I played on one of their shows too. I forget. Cool. I think it had a swear word in the title. I can't even remember. Penn and Teller.
I can't imagine.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Yeah. I think that was the name of the. Well, it might have been one show. I don't know, or it was a theme they used over and over again. Something.
Yeah, I'll have to listen to it. That's funny. You and I are like 2 of the 3 people who actually know what that is. And then Penn would say the same thing. I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's older show.
It's old.
Too. Yeah.
That was a long time ago. But that's cool. You've been around. So, do you have any? Are there any like new composers that nobody knows about that are starting to wind their way into the niche of Hollywood? Is that happening? Is it just still like it's like a guild? I feel once you're in, you're in. And
I don't know how to answer that. I don't know.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
It's just that maybe I just don't know because they've done one movie. And so here they come, but I'm not really aware of the movie or their score. I didn't play on it. So, yeah. Like obviously everyone knows John Williams. He's done so much for Jurassic Park and or in Star Wars, etc. And like he's so iconic composer. Right. Like that would be the Beethoven of our times or Mozart.
Sure.
But Michael Giacchino, I've mentioned him before.
Right.
He's iconic. His scores sound really different score to score even. He can really create different type of things. What was kind of fun too is working with Hans Zimmer, where this kind of stands out, where he hired and used 12 of drummers at the same time, and we set up in a circle. And so my friends, my idols, peers, we're all playing together. Vinnie Colaiuta, Sheila E., and Jim Keltner, J.R. Robinson.
The whole collection.
We're in a circle, and we're all playing the same thing, kind of tribal. It was for Superman, Man of Steel, and then he did it again for Batman versus Superman. But that time we were more in a straight line. So in the theater, we were in the surround sound speakers.
Right.
But for Batman versus Superman, it was across the front in stereo, which brings up surround sound. Do you have a Blu-ray player, either of you?
Yes.
I do not.
Okay. So, do you have rear speakers for surround, like where you can hear birds chirping? Right.
Yeah.
So I've released all 3 albums also in surround sound. So this movie theater thing where it's surround sound of 5 speakers around you, or now you get even vertical speakers like for Dolby Atmos, or we did.
Right, I was going to say, what codec did you use finally?
Oro 3D. Oro 3D is and even if you had 7 speakers, you can, even if it's releasing Dolby Atmos, this upgrading it to the 9.1. If you have the 2 front speaker heights and 2 rear speaker heights, it gives like a cube of sound. So I think years ago there was something called quadraphonic.
Yes, there was.
Like even War had an album, The World is a Ghetto, in quadraphonic. So in their honor, we did a big band tune on the previous album, Burn, 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 the War is a Ghetto. And but so each of these 3 albums have been released by my band. Do you remember the name of the band?
Yes, the BBB band featuring Bernie Dresel.
That's it. Long title, way longer than the Beatles.
I can do it like the guy in Las Vegas. And now, Bernie Dresel and the BBB band featuring him.
Not the BBB band.
I know, I screwed it up. I'll give it one more take. You're on my clock, man.
I picked the band title. I'm stuck with it. But the listening to a big band in surround, now you don't just have bass, drums, 2 guitars, or whatever.
How is the
now you have
on it?
5 saxes, left and right speakers, front and back, trombones, left and right speakers, front and back, trumpets across the front, height even, rhythm section in the middle, and then maybe secondary drum or percussion parts or guitar parts in the rear speakers. And you are literally surrounded by a band.
Are the drums mixed so that they are
very cool?
Well, like, are you hearing certain like the effects in the? I'm curious about the panning strategy and that kind of thing.
Right, it is about that. You can do it different ways. So the first album, Live and Burning, was literally live at a club. So the audience is in the rear speakers and the reflections of the band playing live. The second album was in the studio album, Capitol Records. I did the drum to Sunset Sound. And this third album we recorded in our home studios. I'm over here at recording here, and setting drums up and just recording right here. So on the Pugilist, the latest album, I have drum set at the front and secondary drum set. I played with myself. Have you ever played with yourself?
Absolutely.
Maybe?
Since I was 12.
No.
I love doing parts and getting to play with another drummer or a percussionist because it's almost like it's ensemble drumming, and if you're both tasty and like each other, it's such a great feeling to get these grooves going. Do you know Gumby? Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear about the panning.
So the horns are like a semicircle from the left rear to the front, back to the right rear. But then you're right. You have, what do you do with the plane in the back? And that can be reflections or it can be other secondary parts. And so I put secondary drums in the back and maybe extra keyboards or an extra guitar part back there. And now you just got to come in all around.
And now let me ask you that. You're listening to that from the front perspective.
Just when you're mono. was like that, and then suddenly, oh my God, stereo! I can hear stuff there and there. Now it just expands that. Okay, go ahead.
That perspective when you're listening to it, is that from in front of the audience? Like, as the drum parts, are you hearing those as drummer perspective, as if we're looking forward? I'm just curious.
I'm a drummer. Yeah.
So do you mix from drummer perspective, or do you use audience perspective typically? That's what I guess what I'm trying to ask.
Let me think about it. We did audience perspective, but when I record it, I'm thinking drummer perspective, because it's just how I'm looking at it and going, okay, where's that? Okay, it's there. So, but then it's easy just to go, floop, and you just flip it around. It just depends which. Do you want the hi-hat on that side or that side?
Right.
You know, the floor tom. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So I think most of us just have kind of our routine, like you said, when you thought about it. Well, it's my perspective, because I've done that myself, just mixing. I'll do a mix.
There's one other thing. There's one other thing about audience perspective and how to set up the band. When we play live, and when Buddy's band or Louis Belson's band, or a lot of times it was trumpets on the top row, bones on the next row, saxes, all in a block, right? So coming at you in stereo. But some of the bands like Stan Kenton would set up in a semicircle live. So that's how we did it. So suddenly you can hear saxes over there, and now here comes the bones over here, rather than saxes, bones. It
gets that mushy middle.
More. Yeah. So that's how we've mixed albums 2 and 3, Burn, 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 and The Pugilist. But live, we set up live, you have to do that stereo image of it's in a block. And then for the Blu-ray, where there's height channels, you can actually hear the trumpets are up above, bones here, saxes
you can hear the rise. You can hear the riser separation between the segments.
That's right.
That's cool.
That's how we set up.
That's really neat.
It is.
So, there's different options.
When you hear that on a really great sound system, I used to be in the industry selling sound systems, high-end, home audio and professional audio. And I've said to some people, until you've heard real sound, you don't really know how good it can sound. I mean, really warm system.
So there's the height speakers above. Well, where am I? Oh, I'm blocking up my hand. There's the height speakers left and right up high, and then coming back here. There they are, back there.
I got it.
Yeah, so that gives you that vertical, like aquarium of sound, rather than just a two-dimensional surround sound.
One dimension. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the speakers, they're cheap to put up there. They're not like the bigger speakers I have on the bottom, but you have to convince your spouse that you want all those in the room.
Yes. When I used to sell pro audio to people who were celebrities and they had a lot of money, oh my God, the troubles you'd have when the designer came in and we had this great system designed for somebody. The guy wants it, and then wifey's like, I don't want to see any of these speakers. It was always a challenge, but hey, that's what you get paid for. Challenges like that are kind of fun. And I love watching people when they hear like an amazing sound system the first time with a great mix and that smile. Now, it's just overwhelming.
Now, for the surround, you need a DVD for 5.1 or for different mixes, including stereo and 96K 24-bit. You need Blu-ray. Blu-ray players are $75 now.
I know. I'm just lame and having. I definitely can upgrade. It's funny because I just haven't done it. It's like I've got all kinds of formats from the past 20 years.
Well, you're a musician. Yeah. Sometimes, most of my musician friends, I go, do you have rear speakers? They go, no. Or do you have speakers in your home? No. They just have the TV. And then they listen to music in the car. But
I like having
now the new cars don't have CD players.
That's true. That's true.
Now you have to listen to it on your phone, either through Spotify or Apple Music, or download stuff to your phone. Yeah.
Right. And if you're really like kind of fanatical, you can have those little A to D converters and these players that put out incredibly high end, and you have your boutique tube amp in the car, and I've seen some amazingly cool stuff with that. I see. There's a certain point though where I love hi-fi and all the great stuff, and our friend Emiko is like a great emissary for hi-fi in general. But sometimes just an old stereo and an old Camaro in our days growing up, and those records sounded good on almost every format because of the way they were mixed.
Yeah.
And,
so my biggest seller of the 3 albums is the Blu-ray, because people that have these speakers, even just 5.1 rears, they're hearing, you know, a movie with birds chirping back there, but they go, man, I really want to hear that. And so by releasing music in surround, they go, oh, there's a surround sound album. Yeah. And so I bring non-jazz lovers, or they don't know if they like it, they've not really heard it. Big band is not quite as like a trumpet player soloing for 4 minutes, like Miles Davis. It's more ensemble and fun.
Oh yeah,
and impactful. And so
the interplay between you guys is just exceptional. I've only listened to.
I get a new audience that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure. I mean, the geeks, the eggheads, you know, consumers of music sometimes really becomes their obsession, and you know, having some people just have to have every mix of a record and go home.
Yeah.
And, you know, my friend and I, an engineer friend of mine, we were like such nerds when we were young. You know, we'd like sit with the Beatles book, the track sheets for the book. We'd have the George Martin thing. We'd be reading the George Martin book, cross-referencing the track sheets. We're, you know, we're just recording nerds. And, you know, we've both always made, you know, we've always made a living in the business of some kind or another. You know, we've worn a lot of hats, but, you know, we were going to do a break, but it's 4:45. How about I'm just going to go ahead and play some a little bit of some of your play. All right, everybody. Here we are. It's 4:45 here in Friday in New York, and we're going to play some Bernie Dresel.
Oh, look at that.
And I got to go here.
The BBB.
Yes.
Love it.
People go, what does it stand for? Well, it doesn't stand for anything. You have to put your own improvised words in there, like Bernie's big butt, or the bass player likes bass behind Bernie. So it's just the name is the BBB, and it's not short for anything.
Okay, let's hear Bernie bringing beats. That's my BBB.
There you go. That's a good one. I like that. That's what I like. People improvising, coming up with new funny ones or rude ones. Rude ones are good too.
Nothing like some dark, crude humor. It's my favorite.
I'm competing with your hair, Sam. There you go.
Man, I'm digging your hair. I love it.
Is it playing now for them?
Yes.
No. Oh, okay. All right.
All right. We're going to hold on here, people. Sorry. Okay. And now we're coming back to here. All right. Gosh almighty. Thank you. Okay. Took a little,
all right.
Getting a little nervous fingers here going, all right. Is it working right? And it is.
I think that's a club, what you showed there. In LA, in Bel Air, Herb Albert's club from the Tijuana Brass. Herb Albert, that Herb.
Oh
Albert.
yeah.
And it's called Vibrato Grill Jazz, and it's a beautiful, artistic-looking place, really high-end, beautiful place, great sound system. And so it's rare we would travel to tour anywhere in the world or anywhere other than Los Angeles. So most people have to come in to see us play because we play once a month. When there's no epidemics of any kind, then we'll play once a month.
Well, I know. I hope to be out there for NAMM this year, and it's been. I haven't been since the last time when I saw that video. It brought back the memory of you and Alex playing out there.
I got a question then. If you're here for NAMM, and NAMM is usually what, a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Which night would you want to come up to Burbank from Anaheim to hear the band? Which night of the week would be best for you?
I would say the second night, or maybe the night before. I think I'll get into town on a Tuesday.
Oh, even get it going.
Maybe
before.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah.
Right.
Because you know the first day is always kind of lame anyway. I mean, it's not
right.
Quite,
so people
are unboxing
looking
and
for stuff to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll stay in touch because that'd be great.
Okay.
And I know you know.
I want to book it around your schedule.
I know,
My
that's
best
so
friend
great.
is speaking again
Make sure
this
they
year.
pick me up at the airport on time. That's all I can
You
tell
got to bring Sam and her hair though too.
Oh,
My best
absolutely.
friend is speaking at NAM this year. He spoke
Okay.
for the last 2 years there. So if you guys link up with a guy named Sean Giovanni, say hi to him. He's amazing. He's one of my best friends. Stellar producer down here in Nashville. Just all around great guy. So
You're
Yeah.
talking about Anaheim NAM, right? Los Angeles.
Yes.
yeah.
NAM? Okay.
Yep,
Yep.
Sean goes out there. He's gone out there the last 2 or 3 years in a row, and he's spoken at NAM the last 2 years straight.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
I've spoken there. Like when I see people walking around, I'll speak to them.
Yeah. Well, hey, I have another video.
it's the cute lines.
I'm going to try rolling another video of yours, which is with the big BBB featuring Bernie Dresel.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Let's see if we can make this work for the good people.
Okay. Hey, Terry Linder's in Burbank.
Yes, she
Hello,
is.
Terry Linder.
See if we can get this out of here. All right, all right.
Okay.
Man.
That's called Zoot Suit from the second album, Burn, Burn, Burn. The arrangement and tune was by one of the original members of Tower of Power, Greg Adams.
Oh, I know Greg. We've had him on. Great.
Okay.
Monster guy.
So he wrote that into the arrangement. So I don't write any of the music. I just pick them and program them and lead the band and try to feature me somehow as the leader. And so, you know, it's always different arrangers creating the music, which gives some variety. But it's interesting because I'm so glad you played the whole thing, because if you stopped after 2 minutes, it's one of the rare moments where all the horns are just sitting there. And because it was a feature kind of like of the bass and the slap upright bass and a piccolo flute, just for some variety in the show. But because I play with Brian Setzer, that upright bass is a slap bass, and try to incorporate that into my band maybe 20% of the time, to kind of pay homage and bring that into the band too. So that's George. He's from Serbia, and he just started playing with the band in the past 6 months, really, to a year. And
he's smoking.
He has a lot of great chops on the slap bass, you know. Dunk, 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 dunk.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the stand up.
Yeah,
it's obvious too, the cohesion of the band. It's just like so tight. I love it. I mean,
it's absolutely stellar. Kudos, it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, you know, for coming on.
You guys are great.
Tell everybody where they can get. Yeah, we'll have you back. If you're in New York, man, come.
You can have coffee
here at the shore, man. We'll party. Go out and eat some animals. Seafood.
You got to get your hair game together. Compete with me and Sam, though.
Oh well, actually, this isn't my usual. This happened in the past year, but it'll come back. You'll have to look at. This is relatively new. I haven't had long hair in like 25 years.
I'm teasing you. I used to have long hair way down to here. For the first 2 years of Brian Setzer, then me and the keyboard player had really long hair. We go, you know, we got to get on the game of. Brian never said, you know, you need more of the rockabilly stuff. He never said that. We just figured, we need that. That's what we should do for this band. This looks like we're going to keep doing it. And so that started 1996 for me. And the glasses were 98. I had wire rims before that.
The birth of rockabilly.
But Brian had these glasses at one point. I go, well, I can't get those. He's got them. The black kind of thing, the John Lennon, Buddy Holly, etc.
Oh, right.
And then I went up, and then he stopped when he wore contacts. I go, I can switch to these. And so now I tried to go with contacts at one point, and people go, no. Where are the glasses? You know, so it became like trademark almost. It was like on the front of the bass drum head. Oh yeah, here we go. You know, the three. Oh wait, where is it? There you go. 3G.
Okay, right on. Ooh,
you know, so now I'm getting stuck with these glasses forever. You know,
love the glasses and the logo.
Actually, I like your shirt. It looks like you came and borrowed from my collection, man. I'm telling you, you're looking good.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not wearing it today, but I normally wear
shirts forever.
Me too. Mine are like threadbare, but they're comfortable. All right, everybody. Well, listen.
Okay.
We couldn't have a better guest. Thank you for being here. Stick around in the green room. We'll be right off, and
all right,
we'll talk to you shortly.
Okay.
All
the party
everybody.
Starts.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, let the weekend get fun.
Happy weekend.
Wow. And we're out of here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.